Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz, Comic Corner Classic, Lesson Known Classics. This is episode number 2487, the rest were 2381. Now, I got two moment trades. First is collecting the first half of a short-lived spin-off ongoing series. The other is the third volume for a mini-series that, well, the only reason why Marvel publishes it because it sells good for them. That's my opinion. First one we have is Iron Man, War of the Iron Man. Now, this book collects the first and only known spin-off ongoing series to star Tony Stark. Yes, War Machine has had a series, fine. And Iron Man 2.0, that was just a War Machine book. That's all that was. But this book in particular, this is the first and only known spin-off book that Iron Man ever had. Because, by the way, if you notice basically the font here and the way this book came out, yeah, it came out the same. It came out, I think it was in 2011, I believe it was, this book came out. Actually, more like 2010. Yeah, next time we would get a spin-off ongoing series for Iron Man would not be until, get this, 2015. Yeah, where it was International Iron Man, which had lasted for 7 issues, and then got replaced by Infamous Iron Man. That lasted for like 12, and got a story concluded in the Iron Man book. But this is the only one to star Iron Man himself. Yeah, this is the first of 2, the other, of course, being International Iron Man. This book is written by Fred Van Lent, who is an excellent writer, and I kind of wish he was still doing books some more because this book is really good. Now, the book is called Iron Man Legacy. Now, you're probably thinking, where does the name come from? We talk about legacy. Well, that's from a line from Iron Man 2, which this book basically was launched as a promotion piece for that movie. The book only had 2 story arcs, and most of the book was taking place somewhat in the past, but was taking place in the present day. Now, by the way, this book also collects the Iron Man Titanium Man one-shot. And of course, like I mentioned, Fred Van Lent is the main story here with Steve Kurth. The Titanium Man one-shot is by Matteo Casali and Steve Kurth, who does the main book here. My guess is probably the reason why they included the one-shot because 2 reasons. Number 1, came at the same period of time as this book, and 2, same artist. Plus, you gotta love the Salvo de Rocca first issue cover, which I think it's a nod to Iron Man number 1. Yep. Mostly put for this book, it's deals with basically like attacking like Stark International. Iron puts out this great piece of artwork. Yeah, you gotta love this artwork. It's so good. Yeah, and of course he's also, the whole thing is basically, the big thing in this book is that we have this various Iron Man committing atrocities in various countries. Which, of course, basically, Iron Man can't legally do anything about it because it's international. And people he talks to about this is Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, Nick Fury, who at the time was director of S.H.I.E.L.D. But at the time this book came out, he was not director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was, I believe he was still doing the Secret Wars book at the point. So you also have Hayden Pierre Gyrick, who's representing the Commission on Human Activities. Franklin Nelson, still a lawyer today, though his hair's really weird. Sunjin James, EVP of Sales Marketing. Heck, even Rhodey's here. Yep. Basically, it's kind of in the way similar to a Zoom call. You know, for various screens, people are muted. Yeah, and we also have this guy named Flannery, Michael Flannery. We also have it where you have Tony, where he just does the presentation about stuff. We get a flashback to when he's like crashing. And then we see he wakes up, look like he's in bed. No, he looked like he's lying on the floor of his office where it looked like he's already had sex with his secretary. And I'm like, this is standard Tony Stark. He would definitely do this. Because, he's rich. And of course, Tony watching these guys. No, he's not eating popcorn because even he would not be that gross to do that. So then, of course, he fights these drones. And apparently, Doctor Doom gets involved in this stuff. Yes, it's gorgeous artwork. Yes, Doctor Doom is fantastic here. Yep. And of course, Gyrick is not happy with the fact that Tony went over, goes overseas, and then we see apparently getting a massage from a hot masseuse. It's like, oh, Tony's overseas, beat up robots, and it's like, no, it's like, yeah, and this is so funny. Like, okay, he's getting a massage. So funny. It's like, this happens twice where he, like, walks in and, like, Tony's like, oh, he's doing something. And he eventually puts some clothes on. And he's like, oh, take this seriously. Oh, yeah, I am. And, of course, eventually we do find out who's responsible for this stuff. Yeah. So he takes it to the robots. Yeah, because this technology was stolen. It's similar situation to that with the Armor War stuff, but and then we find out it was this guy here, and oh boy, who this guy is, just weird. And then we have the Dread Knight show up. Yes, Dread Knight. Yeah, he's an old classic Iron Man character. I hope my favorite Edgar's watching because I'm reviewing some more Iron Man, because I'm sure he loves when I review Iron Man. Then we have this paraplegic who basically doesn't like Tony very much, and he's like held hostage. Then he makes a makeshift Iron Man suit. He escapes, takes care of Dreadnought, and then basically is like, and then of course Hyra comes back, and then we see Tony in a maid outfit giving a massage to I think it's Pepper. It's so funny. And Pepper just eating a sandwich. That's so funny. Yeah, the thing about Fred Van Lin is he loves doing tongue-in-cheek humor, which I enjoy tongue-in-cheek humor. And then we got the China where the Radioactive Man shows up. Yes, the Radioactive Man. The Chinese one. Not the Russian one that popped up in the first story in the Who is Iron Man story arc. Yep. So Pepper is being held in jail, though eventually he gets released in the book. So we find out these mercenaries are American mercenaries who apparently are basically using and this I'm thinking, oh my gosh. It's like, okay, so apparently they are using Wii controllers. Well, like, it looks like a Wii or an Xbox, and they use these controllers to control these Iron Man suits to commit atrocities. And I'm like, kill these scumbags, because it's basically points thinking that it's like basically these guys are like gamers who takes it too serious. So Radioactive Man basically takes care of the guys. By the way, who hired these guys? Well, it's not China. And then all of a sudden, the Titanium Man shows up. Yes, the old Russian villain along with the Crimson Dynamo. Yep. So yeah, then we have more Iron Men show up here. Then we have Massive Brawl, which is so fun. Yeah, then of course, because they're in Transia, there's a mention here of the High Evolutionary, which, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yes. And you have Iron versus Doctor Doom. And then we have this old guy show up again, and then apparently opens his armor up, and apparently it's controlled by Dragnia, the paraplegic. I'm like, what? She's controlling an old man? Yeah, this I thought was a weird revelation. Yeah, I'm sorry to spoil this, but this was like 13 years ago. So, yeah, no big spoilers there. Menchie Pepper is freed, and then we go to an open field. Tony Stark just activates some thing in the air, opens up this thing, and it turns out he has a whole army of Iron Man robots, which basically next door is basically in Dutch Revolution. And then we have Iron Man Titanium Man one-shot. We have Tony, where he's like Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point in time. Yeah. This, of course, this is probably because he's Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, my guess is this is before Secret Invasion. It's probably this one-shot came out. So, yeah. So, mostly played as Iron versus Ultimo. And that's it. Yeah, for a book called Titanium Man, it doesn't feature him at all. Nope, it doesn't. But this book is amazing. I give this book a 10 out of 10. It was really good. I enjoyed this one. Yep. It came out during my favorite period of time, like, of comics. Excuse me, let me explain that. Basically, I have about 4 different ages when it comes to eras, when it comes to comics. My first era, the one I think has a good quality comics, is from 2004 to 2012. That's the first era. That's where this comic comes from. The second era is from 2013 to 2015. The third, 2015 to 2017. And then you have the fourth era, which we're in right now, is 2018 to present. That's how I figure it. But the only reason why that the first era was so long, because this is the era of good comics. Oh yes, the era was a good comic, but now it is good. And Fred Van Lin, man, this guy is so freaking good. It's a shame this guy doesn't do comics Marvel anymore. That I know of. Let me take a look here. Oh, Lenz, yes. That's how you pronounce it. Last name, Lenz. Yeah, and I'm like, this guy is just so good. Oh my gosh, this guy is so good. And can you believe his first book he worked on was working on Amazing Fantasy number 7? Yeah, this actually was another book, one of those mini books he worked on. Mm-hmm. Now you might be asking, what was the last book he did for Marvel? Definitely wasn't this book. Nope. Last book he did was... Let's see. Last book he did was Weapon X Volume 3. Yep. A book I have reviewed. Yeah, that was the last book he worked on. He took over, Greg Pak took over the book. Yeah, he took over. Greg Pak was the original writer for this book. He did the opening 6 issues of this book. And then Fred Van Lin took over as the book. And can you believe that book, last issue, came out 5 years ago? Yeah, 5 years ago. Actually, more like frickin' 6. Yeah, 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that was like basically when this book ended, the Weapon X book. That was the last book he ever worked on. Yes. Of course, there were books like Devil vs. Punch, what have you, that really fun. There's Slapstick, there's Guardians of Galaxy, Telltale games, some one-shots. The guy, in my honest opinion, never did a bad book. Nope, he never did. There was a book called Destroyer but that was canceled. It was supposed to come out back in 2012. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the guy is really fun. If you think of ongoing series, this probably was one of our lengthier ones he worked on. Alright, next up we have is Edge of the Spider-Verse, Bleeding Edge, which collects Edge of the Spider-Verse, Volume 3, Issues 1 through 4. And there is a reference in one, I think it's in one of the stories here, we have a reference to End of the Spider-Verse, because basically this takes place just afterwards. But takes place during the second story of that run for Spider-Man. These are your character stories. Spider-Rex, Spider-Killer, Seamstress, Spinstress, Sky Slayer, Spider-Boy, Spider-Smasher, Tree Spider, Headline, and Arena. Spider-Rex is written by Carlo Paccio, art by Perry Perez. Spider-Killer, Xander Cannon, Gillo Casena, Seamstress, David Hahn, and Lucio Vicio. Sky Spider, Ben Percy, and Marika Krisa. Spider-Boy, Dan Slyer, Berto Ramos. Spider-Smasher, David Benkert, and Julian Shaw. I believe this one's a follow-up to, because I believe the Spider-Smasher is actually the same character, Belly, from the final story of Sal Amazon for Miles Morales Spider-Man. Dream inspired though by Bell B. Earl and Taboo, art by Juan Ferrer. The headline book is Daniel Kipplesmith and Crisscross. Headline: Who the heck is Headline? That is simply Jameson as the Spider-Man. Yes, J. Jonah Jameson is a Spider-Man. He has a cape that has articles of the Daily Bugle on it. And another story by Alex Sariga and Alan Ballum. The Spider-X story, well, mostly put just basically a version of Spider-X. There's no mention here of this is actually his second ever solo story he's ever had, and I think it was also in the first book as well. He has this crush on this red feather one, Mary Jane Windsor. Yeah, it's so funny. And this is the version of Jameson here, finding of course also Venom Rex as well, which I think is from the Edge of the Venomverse stuff. Yeah, really fun story. I love this story. I thought this story was so fun. Now, Curse the Spider Killer. This one, it just basically, like, got good artwork. I love the artwork for this thing. I really wish this artist would do more work for it. Yeah, it's just a weird horror story. Now, I believe, Somstress, I believe this is the one that mentioned, of course, I think this is the one that mentioned the events of Spider-Verse. This version of Kraven the Hunter here. Yeah, Fairy Godmother. Yeah, this is what they mentioned stuck in the Spider-Verse. Yep, so this is the follow-up to End of the Spider-Verse. This is the one set after this one. It's one of two. The other one is another one we'll talk about in just a minute. And then we have the third story of this book after Songstress. This is the Sky Spider. This is like a medieval Spider-Man. Surprisingly, of course, you have Verge Kraven Hunter, looks like President Kraven Hunter. Interesting now becomes Edge of Spider-Verse. One character I've noticed that never gets featured in these stuff. Spider-Man 1602. Isn't that weird? He does not get featured. The other is Ultimate Spider-Man, the Peter Parker one. He's not gonna. He's Brother Peter. Like, really? Yeah, he doesn't get one. I'm not sure why. And then we have, this is for issue 3. This is now this one. This is the only one set in 616. This is the Spider-Boy story, and this gets followed up in not exactly in Spider-Man per se. It gets followed up in the Spider-Boy book. Yes. And this is another one that's set after the events of the first arc of Spider-Man, where apparently like nobody remembers who he really is. So it meets up with Aunt May, which apparently she has no idea who the heck she is, because of course everybody remembers the wife of him. Because I think it was later mentioned. By the way, he fights the inner demons who work Mr. Negative. Oh, and the person responsible for this, Doctor Strange. Yep. And then he saves a girl who, after saving her, get her trust. Later on, he basically takes off his mask to her, Christina Zhu. Yeah, and then he takes out her mask, and because basically, like, I think she's not there as a romantic love interest per se. She's probably somebody who can be that he can trust. So this actually is kind of a good idea, but not really. I mean, she doesn't know him very well, but she wants, because he's all alone, no one remembers who he is, so he just reveals that to her just to gain her trust, and she becomes a supporting character in his series that he's got. Yep. What this will later lead into, this will also be, I think the story might be collecting that second volume for Spider-Man, which later lead to the Spider-Boy series. Now, this next one, that comes right after Spider Smasher. It's Miles' book. Yeah, it's an ultra version of Miles. Actually, I think this is the oh, I remember with this. This is basically Belly from that Solomon book. It's strange Solomon doesn't write this one because this is basically literally a follow-up to it. And then we come to issue 4, where it features Dream Spider. Yeah, and she's the opening story for issue 4. I think she did play a role in Spider-Verse, I think. But then you have the headline thing, which is Jameson Lilly. And then we have... I think that's it. Oh, by the way, the headline thing is clearly a nod to Spider-Man. Oh, and Daily Bugle's literally like... it's like basically this is Jameson, he was nicer. And then we have an R in a story. Or she's here with May Parker for reasons. It's basically kind of like a little epilogue to Spider-Verse stuff. You think hopefully it'll be another one. Like they fight like another creature and for now, you might be thinking, because this is volume 3 for Spider-Verse, is there going to be a volume 4? Because Marvel loves their next volume. They love doing this. You might be thinking, is there a volume 4? Yes, there is. There's another volume coming. Next year. Yep. Oh boy. Yep, we're having another volume for Edge of the Spider-Verse. For reasons. Yeah, I don't really know. Well, my only guess is the reason why we're getting another volume for this because it sells. And people like these stories. I don't think that these stories are bad. I think the stories are really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yep. And it's something I thoroughly enjoyed. And I think the only reason why Marvel keeps pushing out this one, yeah, it's the same one. Yep, it is. I do find it interesting, though, the fact that Marvel thought a good idea to follow up with a character Solomon Alman created in this book, and you don't have Solomon come back to write the character. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird, but at least the Dan Slott one makes sense. At least that's there just to promote basically his own book. That's all the point of issue 3. But, fun stories. But, okay, before I end this video, who would I like to see Ultimate Spider-Man get stories in this very book that should be getting more of them? Spider-Man Noir. I would love to see more stuff for him. Spider-Man 1602. I still think it's strange he hasn't featured in Spider-Verse stuff. And yeah, he's a Spider-Man. Yeah. It's kind of weird. He is not featured at all. Don't know why. And you think, okay. Anybody else? I would definitely feature. Excuse me. Well, there is an alternate version of Spider-Woman who's a lesbian. Mariko, the one who is dead in the 6-book universe. I would feature her in one of these stories as sort of follow up to what happened with her after the Exile story arc. After she was last in Exile, so let me see a follow up with that. Spider-Rex, would I like to see a follow-up with him? Not sure. I have no idea. I don't really know about that one. Do I think there should be another one? I think okay with it too. I don't know if we need another one for him. Songstress, yes, I would love to see another one for her. There are others, definitely, but I'd like to see more of the older characters. I know Spider-Man India, he doesn't necessarily need one of the story for this book because he actually had miniseries recently. So he does need one. Spider-Man Noir, give him a miniseries. Just feature somebody. Somebody who is not featured yet in this book yet. But the number one person I can see is Spider-Man 1602. That's the number one person. Okay, so that's the episode of you. Next up is Spy X Family. Okay, next video. Bye.